In ancient Egypt, the death of a household cat was met with public mourning, an event that touched every member of the family, young and old alike. The loss was not just a private sorrow, but a moment that echoed through the entire community. Family members would shave their eyebrows to show their grief, a striking and unmistakable sign of mourning that everyone could recognize. This wasn't just a quirky habit, it was a widespread custom, a visible sign of loss that lasted until the eyebrows grew back. For weeks, sometimes even months, the absence of eyebrows marked the depth of their sorrow for all to see. The Greek historian Herodotus was amazed by how deeply Egyptians mourned their cats, far more than any other animal. He wrote of their rituals with a sense of awe, noting how the entire household would be plunged into mourning. For Egyptians, cats weren't just pets, they were sacred beings, believed to carry a spark of the divine. Cats were protectors of the home, guardians against evil spirits, and companions in daily life. The act of shaving eyebrows was a public declaration. The household's guardian had passed on, leaving a spiritual void. It was a way to honor the cat's memory and acknowledge its role as a cherished member of the family. This ritual crossed all social classes, uniting people in a shared emotional language. Whether rich or poor, everyone understood the pain of losing a cat, and the community would come together in support. Egyptians saw their bond with cats as mutual, offering food and shelter and receiving protection and spiritual connection in return. The relationship was built on respect, affection, and a sense of shared destiny. The grief was real because the connection was real. Cats were living links to the gods. Their presence brought blessings, and their loss was felt as a true spiritual wound. To understand their importance, we must step into a world where a simple feline could inspire the collective sorrow of a nation. A world where the love for cats was woven into the very fabric of society, and their passing left a mark on every heart. It's often said that Egyptians worshipped cats, and this idea has captured the imagination of people for centuries. But that's not quite accurate. The truth is more nuanced and fascinating than the simple notion of cat worship. Egyptians didn't worship every cat as a god. Instead, they revered cats as earthly vessels for the goddess Bastet, who embodied protection, fertility, and grace. This distinction is crucial. Cats were honored as sacred representatives, not deities themselves. Their presence was a sign of divine favor, not divinity. Egyptians believed gods could manifest through animals. The hawk for Horus, the cow for Hathor, and many others, each animal chosen for its unique qualities. And the cat, with its elegance and mysterious nature, was the chosen form for Bastet. Harming a cat was a grave insult to Bastet, inviting not only social outrage but also the fear of divine retribution. A cat in the home was a living symbol of the goddess's protection and nurturing, believed to bring good fortune and safety to the household. This reverence shaped daily life, making cats deserving of care, mummification, and mourning, just as one would honor a beloved family member. The sacred status of cats was a way for ordinary people to connect with the divine, bridging the gap between mortal and immortal realms. Rather than a cult of cat worship, it was a sophisticated belief system where animals bridged the human and spiritual worlds, reflecting the Egyptians' deep respect for nature. The cat was a cherished symbol, protector, and conduit for Bastet's power, an enduring legacy that continues to fascinate us today. Before their divine status, cats earned their place in Egypt through practical means. As an agricultural society, Egypt relied on grain stores, prime targets for rodents. Wild African cats were drawn to these settlements, hunting pests and protecting vital food supplies. Egyptians quickly recognized their value. Cats became indispensable allies in survival. This mutual relationship benefited both. Cats got food and shelter, humans got pest control. Over time, this partnership evolved into affection and respect. Cats moved from granaries into homes, depicted in tomb paintings as beloved companions. They were named, fed, and integrated into family life. The transition from wild hunter to cherished pet paved the way for their sacred status. The cat's journey began with utility, but it was love that elevated them to the divine. The cat's rise to sacred status is inseparable from the goddess Bastet, whose influence shaped the very heart of ancient Egyptian culture. Bastet began as a fierce lioness, a powerful warrior goddess of the sun, and a vigilant protector of Egypt's people and pharaohs. Over centuries, as Egyptian society evolved and daily life became more settled, Bastet's image softened. She transformed from a symbol of ferocity into one of grace and gentleness, mirroring the growing affection Egyptians felt for domestic cats. She became a nurturing goddess of home, fertility, and protection, often depicted with a cat's head, or as a mother cat surrounded by playful kittens, embodying both strength and tenderness. Every cat was believed to carry a spark of Bastet's divine essence, making its presence in the home a true blessing and a sign of the goddess's favor. A cat in the home was thought to bring good fortune, prosperity, and to guard against evil spirits or misfortune, acting as a living talisman. Caring for a cat became more than affection. It was a religious duty, a sacred way to honor Bastet and ensure her continued protection over the household. Temples like Bubastis were dedicated to Bastet and housed entire colonies of sacred cats, lovingly tended by priests who regarded them as living embodiments of the goddess. People from all walks of life brought offerings, sometimes even mummified cats or beautifully crafted statuettes, to these temples, hoping to gain the goddess's favor and blessings for themselves and their families. Through daily interactions with cats, feeding, playing, or simply sharing quiet moments, Egyptians felt a deeply personal connection to Bastet, bridging the gap between the mortal and the divine. In the eyes of the ancient Egyptians, the cat was the perfect intermediary between the human and divine worlds, a living symbol of grace, mystery, and spiritual connection. The cat's transformation from pest controller to sacred symbol permeated every level of Egyptian society. In homes, cats became cherished companions, depicted in tomb paintings as part of the family. Including cats in tomb art ensured their presence in the afterlife, reflecting deep emotional bonds. Cats symbolized fertility and motherhood linked to Bastet. Amulets shaped like cats were worn for protection and luck. Their nocturnal habits and agility connected them to the moon and ideas of rebirth. Cats were both loving pets and potent religious symbols, accessible pieces of the divine. Unlike distant gods, cats brought sacredness into daily life. They protected grain, guarded homes, and embodied resilience. This dual role made cats not just respected, but truly loved in ancient Egypt. Their multifaceted importance secured their place at the heart of Egyptian culture. Bubastis, in the Nile Delta, was the epicenter of cat reverence. Its temple to Bastet was famed for beauty and charm, surrounded by canals and home to countless sacred cats. Priests cared for these cats with devotion, feeding them the finest foods. Pilgrims flocked to Bubastis for the annual festival of Bastet, a lively, massive celebration. A key ritual was offering mummified cats to the goddess, fueling a vast industry of cat breeding and mummification. Archaeologists have uncovered cat cemeteries with hundreds of thousands of mummies, confirming the cult's scale. Bubastis was a city built around its sacred animal, with economic, social, and spiritual life revolving around the cat. To visit was to enter a world where the purr of a cat was the sound of the divine. Mummification in Egypt wasn't just for humans. Cats were mummified more than any other animal. Cat cemeteries at Bubastis and Saqqara revealed the depth of this practice. Some mummified cats were beloved pets, carefully wrapped and buried with their owners to join them in the afterlife. More often, cat mummies were votive offerings to Bastet, bought by pilgrims seeking her favor. This demand led to large-scale breeding and sometimes the deliberate killing of young cats for mummification. While shocking to us, Egyptians saw it as a sacred act, sending messengers to the goddess. Mummies ranged from intricate to simple. Some were even fakes, reflecting a booming trade. Regardless, the sheer number of cat mummies is a testament to their sacred status. These artifacts show the central role of cats in Egypt's religious economy. The bond between Egyptians and their cats was believed to last for eternity. The sacred status of cats was protected by law. Harming a cat, even accidentally, was a capital crime. Historian Diodorus Siculus recounted how a Roman official was killed by a mob for accidentally killing a cat, despite pleas from the pharaoh. Killing a cat was seen as an offense against Bastet, risking divine wrath on the community. Laws also forbade the export of cats. Special agents were tasked with retrieving smuggled cats from abroad. This state-sponsored protection shows the extraordinary commitment to the animal's welfare. Legal safeguards made reverence for cats a lived reality, not just a belief. Caring for cats was a shared, sacred trust for all Egyptians. The law reinforced the cat's divine connection and central place in society. The sacred status of cats in Egypt was woven from practical, emotional, and spiritual threads. Cats began as pest controllers, earning their place as valued allies. Their role evolved into that of cherished companions, bringing comfort and harmony to homes. Through Bastet, cats became vessels of divine power, symbols of protection, fertility, and resilience. Practices like mummification and protective laws reflected their unique status. Cats were protectors, symbols of new life and beloved family members, believed to transcend death itself. This blend of utility, affection, and spirituality secured their place in Egyptian culture for millennia. The story of Egypt's sacred cat reminds us how animals can shape a civilization's soul.